Hello, the format is that we're all going to take turns to talk for about 5 or 10 minutes. I'm sorry we started late, we came out of the wilderness a bit too late. But I'm going to do 10 and then Alex, and then we're going to go around, then we'll have a discussion, and then I believe there's sort of one-to-ones. So it's a bit compressed because we're going to try and finish by 1 o'clock. So bear with us if it's a bit rushed. Right, hello.
We got to a 15:15.
Have we?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can someone tell me to shut up after about 8 minutes?
I'll give you 5 minutes.
Yeah, thanks. Yes, I put this time creativity and value because it seemed to me what people were wanted to hear about was the question I get asked quite often is when you do a creative pitch or you talk about your work and the creativity, actually the question that people ask is that, nearly always. How the fuck do you make money out of that? And so what I thought I would do is just run through some of the projects I've done and talk about 2 aspects of them. One is where does the revenue come from to support these projects that I do, and then the second thing is what am I getting out of it from the audience? Which this stuff about user-generated content, which I think is what's driving the development of some of the projects I'll talk about. Now this is quite an old project now called Online Caroline, a webcam and email drama. It's a sort of Lonely Girl 15 for narrowband internet from about 2000. And it was a 24-episode drama that you watched like 5-minute scenes that seemed to be live over webcam, and then you got emails from the character, and they were personalised. So basically, there was a database tracking how you were responding to the site, and then the character would then personalise the emails based on that, and also any data that you gave about your name or your age or where you lived and stuff. So the obvious benefit to that, the ISP that funded it, was increased online time. At that point, most people were accessing through modems, so the longer you spent on time, the higher the phone bill, and that was where they made their money. So if we could get people to stay online for like 4 or 5 minutes longer every day for a month, that was worth quite a lot of money to an ISP. So that was the main reason why they would invest in it. Okay. So they weren't that interested in the creativity; they were just interested in extending online time. So that's this business about working out what your funder's objective is. It may not; they may love your creativity, but they may have an eye on something else. Okay. And obviously they want to retain subscribers over that month, so you come back to sites and you can sell them things like banner ads and that kind of stuff. And with personalisation and tracking, you can actually sell them things that might be relevant to them at the point when they're interacting. There was good value at this point in PR and marketing, and you shouldn't underestimate the value of that to companies, big companies that might fund individual creative people. Is that big companies like to look funky, and particularly technology companies get quite wowed by content, and it does, if they get good positive PR for the projects they support, it does do something to their share price, so they have an idea about the value of that as well. Okay. And then of course what we did with this, we did spin it out into some TV shorts for Channel 4. We did a German language version and a French language version. And we sort of sold some format rights to a format company to go around the world sort of selling it. And there's an Australian version as well. So you can make it once and sometimes do things several times with it. Okay. What I was interested most of all personally, the creative aspect that I was interested in was the response of the people who interacted with this thing. Quite a lot of them thought that Caroline was a real person. I like this one. I've let the police know, but they weren't really able to do anything because I don't know your address. I phoned them again, but they started getting a bit shirty. And I actually got phoned by the police as well, asking what the hell was I up to, staging a burglary online. But then there's some more troublesome user response, which was that one. Who the hell are you, and why have you been sending messages to my dad? He's got my mum and would not want anyone else. That's user-generated content, but I'm not sure what you do with it. We extended the idea of giving these characters, you could send these characters gifts, like big bottles of vodka, and see how that changed their behaviour. And thought, well, that would be a good service for everybody to have, to be able to be sent by complete strangers things you always wanted, for free. Wouldn't that be good? And of course, so we did. We created that service, and it had the same benefits to the ISP, which was people used it more, so they stayed online more. They told you what they wanted to be sent, like gifts, so that you got lots of personalisation information. And that meant you could actually have sponsorship and marketing of actually real gifts or branded gifts sections from people like Virgin or from Smirnoff that would that they could put that people could send virtual vodka bottles around the internet. And it had mobile applications of sending little emotions through sort of virtual gifts through the phone network. So it had revenue based with that. And just occasionally someone might get a real gift. It was very salutary to find out what people wanted. This guy wanted something very specific. I've got about 10,000 of these requests of what people wanted.
5 minutes.
That one was
5 minutes.
That one was quite detailed, and that was rather poignant. I wouldn't have. I think it was. Yeah. All that stuff. I was one-to-one, sort of peer-to-peer with a system of people confessing little private things to the system. So we got interested in the idea of wouldn't people want to sort of talk to each other a bit more? Well, yeah. So we tried to create a narrative where, in fact, this messaging was going on between the users, and to get them to dress up and be more sort of creative. So that led us to, that actually ended up being quite a lot about talking dirty and dating, unfortunately. But that's human beings for you. But we also created within the community that the messaging cost you, which is obviously the dating thing, so that you could create revenue that way. And we also had a little online karaoke session in the island, which was quite popular. And people would then spend money on the phone, singing down the phone to be heard back on the internet. Quite interesting.